Good morning, Christ Lutheran. If you are visiting and joining us, my name is Mary Anderson and I'm the pastor here at Christ Lutheran. As you can see, we're outside today. It's a whole new experience for all of us to be church and to be community in the midst of the pandemic that's going on in our country and throughout the world. But here we are, and we're still the people of God, and we also know that things might change. So we're going to do a small video devotional this week. Things may change. You may have ideas about what we can do the next week and moving forward, because as we can all tell, this is not something that's just short term. It's not just for this week. It may be for 8 weeks. It may be for more. So we hope that this time together is meaningful for you. If you're watching this video, then you're on our website, and there will be a number of resources there as well. But the season of Lent continues, our 40 days that are really all about our baptism and going deeper in those relationships with God and with each other. And so we want to help you to continue to do that. Even though we can't all be together, we continue as God's people nevertheless. So as we come up on the fourth Sunday of Lent, we do so with this incredible story from the Gospel of John chapter 9. You probably know it as the story of the man born blind. If you want to, you could pause this video now and read that chapter. And I say chapter because it is indeed the entire chapter of John 9. One of the things that I think always surprises me, I don't know why it still does, but one of the things that surprises me is that after all of my years of living and being a Christian and even being a pastor, when I read certain parts of Scripture, really any part of Scripture, I'm surprised at how I learn new things or see things that I didn't really notice before. And this time when I read that story of the man born blind in John 9, I noticed something that I had not noticed before, and that is how absent Jesus is from most of the story. If you've read it, or even if you haven't, it begins with Jesus walking along and noticing a man who has been born blind who's sitting by the side of the road. So the man doesn't call out to Jesus. Jesus just notices him and sees him. And that gives the disciples the opportunity to ask about situations like being born blind. And they say, whose fault was it that this man was born blind? And Jesus says, it's not his fault. It's not his parents' fault. But it's a way for the glory of God to be revealed, the works of God to be revealed. And then in just 2 quick verses, there's the story of Jesus curing the blind man of his blindness. And then Jesus seems to disappear. And then there are about 39 more verses of the man who is now healed being kind of accosted by his neighbors, by the Pharisees who come along, and they have a lot of questions for him that he has to answer about what's happened to him. Mainly people want to know, how did this happen? Who did it to you? Are you really the person that we think you are, that guy who always sat outside and was begging and was blind? And he kept saying, yeah, it's me, it was really me. And then it's not until the very end of the story when, after answering questions and being interrogated and having people not believe him and then ultimately being tossed out, that Jesus comes back in again and reappears just to the man and says to him, the person that you are looking for, I am he. The same thing that he said to the woman at the well last week. And so it was just so interesting to me how so much of the story was taken up with the man having to give his own testimony over and over again. So one of the things that we notice in the beginning of the story is that Jesus cures the man of his physical blindness. We see that in a number of healing stories. But then he comes back at the end to teach the man more about spiritual blindness. So in between these encounters, the man really has to defend himself. He has to witness to his own story. He has to tell it over and over again. And the other thing that we notice is as those interrogations go on, as he continues to witness over and over again, the man gains more spiritual clarity, better vision about who Jesus really is. And so one of the things that we're called to do in Lent is to do that ourselves, to really go deeper into the question, who is Jesus? Who is Jesus to me? How does Jesus come and heal me over and over again? And you know, on this spiritual journey that is really lifelong, we're all slowly recovering from spiritual blindness. And we have our setbacks. We have our wonderful aha moments in all of that. But you know, we spend a lot of that journey just kind of being in ordinary times. So I'm wondering if maybe this pandemic time is an extraordinary time for us, a quieter time for us, when we can really examine our own spiritual blindness and our own recovery in that blindness, and go deeper into ourselves and into our relationship with God and with one another. And so at a time to see all things new, Jesus keeps coming to us and keeps offering us healing and offering us light and offering us hope. May God be with you this day and this week, and we'll see you again. Peace be with you.